What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back at it again with a late night Tuesday episode. Club going up on a Tuesday. The vibes are here. The vibes are immaculate. This is episode 92 of Stats Over Politics. My name is Kevin Dent, stepping in for the Shaun Holko. But we have a plot twist in here for you guys. This is going to be hashtag Vonny the Host podcast. So I'll let you kick it off, Totty.
Yeah, we're switching it up a little switcheroo today. I feel like LeBron. There's like a meme of LeBron where he's like, they're singing the national anthem and he's just like, "Let's go!" And he like rips off his whole jumpsuit. So that's how we're kind of feeling. But yeah, we're switching things up. Trying to get a little bit of experience. Put it in my background. Put it on my resume.
Put it on your resume, man.
Host of a podcast show. Kev's already got it.
Man, Totty might be big time and have his own podcast now. Now that he knows how to run it, you know how to run the boat, man. Ain't no point to have us around.
But yeah, for the most part, guys, welcome. This is Stats Over Politics. That's Kevin has already mentioned. First of all, we want you to stop what you're doing right now. Like the video, okay? Helps us out a lot. Comment down below what you guys think about our crazy takes, because I know Kevin be saying Kevin just be saying some things. So let us know what you guys think in the comments section, and also give us a follow as well. And share this. If you like what you saw today, share with whoever you thought or think may or may not like this type of content. So appreciate you guys stopping in. We're basically gonna go over all of the games today. We'll be going over pretty much certain series that we missed over the weekend, and we'll be getting into that too. But I guess right now, Kev, it's we're gonna get right into it.
Into it, man. You are the captain now. I'm
the captain now. But yeah, the Cavs take a 2-0 series lead. We saw over the weekend the Cavs pretty much won both games pretty handedly, I would like to say. Donovan Mitchell pretty much showed up for the most part. Kevin, what do you think? Do you think the Orlando Magic, as we put out a bunch of clips right before the playoffs started, we were singing Orlando Magic, and they're now down 2-0. Do the Magic have a chance in the series?
I think so. The first two games we saw the Cavs play at home, they have that hometown momentum, and you see it just carry out. They came out there shooting, guns blazing, everyone's going off. Donovan Mitchell went off for 32 in game one, I believe. And game two, I only caught the second half, and I didn't see a Donovan Mitchell appearance in the third until halfway through the fourth quarter. My man was just sitting there having a great swole time. But I think the biggest thing is Evan Mobley's production. Evan Mobley has been blocking shots and making the three-point shot. I think he's hit 3 so far in the series. And that was one thing that we talked about in the preview of the series, is having two bigs on the court and the problems that could cause. But if Evan Mobley can consistently hit those shots and continue to play great defense, I think they have a chance to get back in this series and win a game. But to answer your question, do they have a chance? That's a complete negative. I think this is a wrap. I think it only has so much longer. They're playing with house money at this point. No one expected them to, besides Totty and I, of course, to come out and win a series. But like I said, they're playing with house money. They made it in the dance, and that's all they really wanted. So there's no complaints. But before we go on, we have our first comment on Instagram, and it's from Wesley, and he said, Wolves, ... Totty and Gary will be diving into that, but just to let you in a little bit of insight, Totty, whoever the Wolves play will get my vote. Wesley has dug his grave, so whoever they play, I'm picking them, no matter what. All vibes pick.
And with that being said, we have our Indian brother, Gary Singh, joining us here. I don't know if Gary knows that I'm taking the reins today. And
I know. I was wondering why it was taking a while to get up. Vaughn probably got control today.
Vaughn Pod, baby.
So it's not on autopilot. This is on Vaughn Pilot, and we're gonna shake things up a little bit. And Gary, I want to get your thoughts here on the Orlando Magic Cavaliers series. And Orlando Magic have looked a little bit lethargic. I'd like to say they've been playing great defense, but I don't think they've been able to score as we all thought that they would have. So, Gary, I want to get your thoughts on the Cavs taking a 2-0 lead over the Orlando Magic.
To be honest with you guys, this one I did have. Well, obviously, I know we didn't send our picks or got to tell our picks before each series started, but I was thinking Cavs in 7. So I did thought they were going to split after 2. After 4, I thought they were going to split, but now going 2-0 back to Orlando. Orlando should be hyped up. I don't think they have a playoff series, and God knows when, probably since Dwight was there, I'm assuming.
2010.
2010. So that home crowd is going to be cooking and rocking whenever they play next. So I believe they're going to be able to take that one. But to be honest with you, I've seen 2 things so far in this series that stand out. First thing I think is that the Cavs really learned a lesson last year, not to take obviously any game seriously, but you can see the experience from Mitchell playing in the playoffs beforehand. Obviously, this team losing last year to the Knicks in the fashion they did. I feel like they have brought that, mentality of not wanting that to happen in the first round to them again, and really showing up in this first round. In Orlando, man, they're just young. I think I've seen a stat, one of the poorest fourth quarter team this year in terms of closing, just because they're just young guys around this team that's been playing hard all year, and they're still trying to find their identity in terms of who's going to be that closer. We all know Paulo's having a great year, and he's still growing into that type of person. They're still finding those roles. I feel like where in the Cavs case, they've been kind of, even though they've been injured, they did have a little turmoil towards the end. I feel like they could have been a higher seeding. I'm not sure what they finished the season in terms of the hot streak, but now I feel like they were on a little downturn. So I would say, them coming into this playoffs is really stepping up and taking care of business, with them being the experienced ones in this bunch and handling home court. Now let's see what they do. If they really learned a lesson, they can come back to Cleveland in Game 5, 3-1 to close it out. So that's what I'm predicting is going to happen now, I'm assuming. Even though I would love to see this series go into Game 7, I feel like the series probably has been slept on so far out of all the series, so hopefully they can get it more intriguing because they got a lot of young good guys on both of these teams. So that's what I see so far in this Cavs series, Vaughn.
Yeah, I mean, kind of just to piggyback off what Gary was saying, the Magic just look very stagnant on offense, and they kind of rely on Paulo Banchero to do everything. I need you to play make. I need you to score.
Defense, rebound.
Play defense, rebound, do this and that. And Paulo can do all of those things, but it's like, okay, Franz, I need you to give me more than 18 a game. Like, I need Suggs to step it up. Cole Anthony's got to give me something. Jonathan Isaac has actually been playing fairly solid for this team, but they just need more. This is not enough for what they're going to do. Now, the Orlando Magic could just be happy to be here and be like, hey, last year, we were dead in the water. Nobody thought that we would be a team that would be a solid playoff team, let alone a play-in team. But they were one of the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. They made a significant jump from what they were last year. And for them to be in this position, I feel like this is a big jump for them. So going into Game 3, I feel like the crowd's they're going to feed into the crowd a lot more. They might have a little bit more juice offensively. And this will be the first home playoff game since I don't know how long. I don't think it's been that long.
2010.
I don't think it's been since 2010 though. I feel like they've been they were in the playoffs when Vucevic.
Oh, that's the last time they won. That's the last time they won. Excuse me. That's the last time they won.
Last time they won. Yeah. Dwight Howard and them.
I can't remember the Vucevic years. Was Oladipo on those team? That team?
I think Jameer Nelson was for sure on one of those teams, but Vucevic was on there. I don't know if Oladipo might have been on one of those teams, but I think the crowd they'll have a lot more energy in this game. I'm not sure if they get the victory because Kevin and I so it wasn't that long ago. Kevin and I were, fairly high on the Magic, and it's blowing up in our faces.
They're a good young team, though.
Tenfold. So this could be a different series, though. If the Magic come and stand their home ground and win both games at home, then we got a series. Again, all of a sudden it's tied, and it's a race to best of 3, basically. So, it'll be very interesting to see how the Magic respond going back home. So now moving on, we're gonna swing this over to our boy Kev, the honorary Timberwolves fan. Wes has been on his ass in our group chat, the Stats Over Politics group chat with everybody in there. And the the Timberwolves have been a team that people were, I was one of those people saying like, all right, the Suns, they beat them 3 times in a row in the regular season. I think clearly we're starting to realize that regular season shit is way overblown. This is the playoffs now. And we saw in game 1, Anthony Edwards talking his shit to Kevin Durant. And he didn't play as well tonight, but I feel like everybody else pretty much got involved. And it was the Jaden McDaniels show, in my opinion. So, Kevin, I would like to swing it to you first. What do you think about the Timberwolves leading the series 2-0?
Well, I was a big fan of when they asked Anthony Edwards how they were feeling about Kevin Durant. He said, Kevin Durant, we got Jaden McDaniels. I sent that to the group chat. A couple laughing emojis. These dudes ain't got nothing. They don't know what's coming. Suns in 6, baby. It's coming. The big 3 is healthy. I don't know, bro. It's not like the Suns are shit, but are the Timberwolves just that much better? Like Totty mentioned, Anthony Edwards came in game 1 and lit him up, talking his shit, doing what he needs to do, carrying that team. And then comes out this game, 15 points. And you're like, if you would have told me before the game Anthony Edwards finished with 15 points, I'm saying it's going back to Phoenix 1-1. There's no way. But the inconsistency of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant.
Pretty much all of them, to be honest. Yeah.
So, was it Saturday was the first game, I believe? Yeah, Saturday. So, Saturday, Kevin Durant show. Coming out, going bucket for Ant. Devin Booker missing in action. Tonight, Kevin Durant missing in action. Devin Booker let it up. But you guys know who continue to not play well. Let me check the stats. Bradley Beal, 14 points.
Yeah.
I really had him as an X factor coming into this series because I believe him missing those games of regular season give him a chance to get healthy. And I believe maybe 2-3 games before the end of the regular season, the Suns smacked the Timberwolves. So I'm coming into this series thinking there's no way. We've seen Rudy been play off the court multiple times in playoff series. So I was really, really fond of that and just the belief of what the Suns team could be. We all were a faction. We were all heads over heels when they made the trades and they brought in the pieces. And like I mentioned last episode, they will move heaven and earth for Kevin Durant. But now it's time to make some results because you're down 0-2. You're going back to Phoenix. If they don't win game 3, bro, and they get swept, there's going to have to be a lot of questions answered in Phoenix. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I know I'm a hater. I know I'm a big Minnesota hater because of Wesley, but I got to come on here and put on my unbiased hat. The Timberwolves look good as hell. I can't come out here and lie. Not 6th man of the year, Naz Reid. Malik Monk is 6th man of the year. I'm going to have to throw that out there. But Naz Reid has been holding it down for him, man. And this bench team, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, past 2 games has been going nuts off the bench. And we knew coming into the series that the Suns bench was very thin, and it's just showing.
So, Gary, I want to pose another question to you. The inconsistencies of the Phoenix Suns has been quite alarming in this series. We've seen Kevin Durant go for 30. Kevin said Devin Booker lit it up. I wouldn't necessarily say that. He had 20 points tonight. They're going to need a lot.
He had, 12 last game?
So he let it at 20 points.
Up.
20 points is not enough.
Bro, Devin Booker having 12 is crazy.
It's not enough.
We saw this Phoenix Suns team take the defending champs 6 games, and we saw Kevin Durant and Devin Booker go combined for 80 points in a series. Are we going to have to see that from this Phoenix Suns team for them to get on in the win column and to get back into the series?
It's funny you say that, and again, I want to keep saying what I thought this is. I guess I thought that was going to be great first round, guys. Again, I thought this was going to be Suns in 7. I'm not going to lie. The Young Bucks lose at home, and I still think that can happen because you can't count out, Kevin Durant, Booker, and Beal because just a lot of firepower. But to answer your question, Vaughn, I think they're going to have to trend that direction. Only problem is, I feel like everyone views these guys as all ISO guys, and they're taking turns. But if you actually been watching them, they really try. And I feel like that's why Beal hasn't found his mojo or his spot yet, it looks like, because obviously we know that, he was in and out of the lineup, and if you really watch, he's really trying to be the hustle guy and trying to play hard defense and things of that nature. And just they haven't had the mojo on the offense, and they're all trying to be unselfish, but still not creating the best of shots. It's been tough shots. It's been, swings to the corner where Grayson Allen, he's been money in that 3-point corner. But, when he goes out and they don't have enough guys off their bench, if you can see, man, like intensity turns up in the playoffs. And when that happens, your star players play longer. That means they're gassed longer. And then you can see maybe even, in the LeBron series real quick, we're going to go to later, like in Lakers, I'm saying? If you play 6-7 guys only, it's pretty tough to, have perfect basketball through all 48 minutes with non-mistakes and, making every possession capitalize. So I feel like that's been their problem. They only have 7 guys deep. So that kind of leaves, you see Denver with like 8 guys, 9. That extra 1 or 2 guys does make a difference to spell some guys to get another energy boost. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's what the Suns are missing. So to answer your question, Vaughn, these 2 are going to have to go for big time buckets. And I think, I wrote before, I thought they were going to win because I thought what Kev said, I thought they were going to do, get Rudy Gobert out the game, as Rudy Gobert has been doing multiple times in playoffs where they play small, and then, they control the game, they control the tempo, play the game they want to play. But Minnesota's been playing so good, and give Mr. Rudy Gobert credit because literally he's been playing, he's been playing on that island when he gets switched. He's been playing good enough where he's not a liability on the floor in terms of in pick and roll. So that means he's, they get to play with their big lineup. And now you just see that all they do is dump it into the paint, penetrate, and it's easy kickouts. And that's why today, Edwards didn't have to be magical like game 1, Vaughn. He was able to relax just because the others were basically getting good looks at the rim and by penetrating because their guys have long athletic wings. And you could just tell, they're just, even though they're not experienced as his Suns teams with the veterans in terms of the top, they got guys who are, but they're long. They've been playing. They're one of the number 1 defenses, as we know, in the league. And in the regular season, they literally transfer that over into the playoffs. So it's going to be tough to beat. I think the only way I can see Suns really controlling this again if they can kind of force their way to make the Timberwolves play in their hands in terms of playing a little more small, playing more free-flowing instead of, get them in the paint. They really got to get the Timberwolves out the paint because once they kind of get in there with the Twin Towers, with Cat even in foul trouble, it's just tough because they don't got enough size in their back end to really hold down that side. So I think the Suns are a little bit in trouble. And like my homie just texted me today, he said – The Young Bucks is taking over, guys. The Young Bucks is right here, prime time in our face, taking over with Edwards. And you already know what Denver's already doing with them. They have already arrived. We've seen other teams like we're going to see tomorrow night. OKC's look like they're arriving. There's teams that are arriving right in front of our face that are, washing the old guard away. We already know what happened with the Warriors not being in this playoff series with Curry being out. So it's crazy to see our 2012s guys when we was in high school and stuff like that and middle school going down.
Stop saying we're old, bro.
We're kind of looking.
We're getting old, bro. We're getting old. But I'm going to have to sign off, fellas. You guys are going to hold it down. I got to work early tomorrow. I just wanted to come in and talk about 2 cents about the Timberwolves, but you guys are going to hold it down, and I cannot wait to hear this back. #host Totty. You guys have a great night.
Appreciate you, Kev. Have a good day. Catch you, my boy.
But yeah, pretty much to just going back to what you were saying about the, everybody, like the league is shifting. We're just seeing, guys like Luka and Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who we'll get into a little bit later, Jalen Brunson. It's a new league. LeBron, is still doing what he's able to do, and we'll definitely get into him. We'll get into that series a little bit later here, but we're starting to kind of see that new school start to show out a little bit in the playoffs here. But kind of going back to this series, the the Suns, it's kind of do or die for them. This is a must-win game. They're already down 2-0. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, those two at least have to get on the same page as far as scoring wise. We already saw Kevin Durant go for 30 in game one. But going back to this game, it just felt like none of those guys, the big three, as some might say, Bradley Beal, I feel like has to get where he needs to get going is when he's in with the second unit. And then kind of when, guys like when, Eric Gordon, and, he's in with Yusuf Nurkic, and he's kind of the leader of that second unit. I feel like that's kind of where he should pick his spots a little bit. And then when Kevin and Book come back into the game, he can still settle in a little bit. But when those two are in the game, those are the two primary scorers. So they got to dig deep and figure out a way, because it could get ugly real fast. If they go down 0-3,
it's over. It's a wrap.
It's over. So it's going to be tough for them. But I feel like if they kind of go back, not think about it too much, they're going back to their home crowd. I still can argue that they have the two best scorers in the series. So it's kind of just a matter of them they need to get their bearings. And when they go back home, things should be a little bit better, as for most teams that are already down 0-2. Moving on, the Knicks take a 2-0 lead over the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't know if you guys watched game 2 yesterday. The Knicks were down 5 with 27 seconds left. Jalen Brunson knocks down a 3 to go down 2. There's a crazy inbound to, I believe it was Tyrese Maxey. Ball kind of gets fumbled a little bit. You could argue there was probably a foul. Probably should have been a foul on that last play. Josh Hart, I believe, or it was Isaiah Hartenstein, I think, comes up with the steal. Ball gets swung around. Brunson to Brunson for like a 3 ball. He misses. I think they get like 2 offensive rebounds. DiVincenzo misses a 3. Hartenstein fights for another offensive rebound. The ball gets somehow swung back to DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo knocks down a 3 to go up 1. And now all hell breaks loose. Ultimately, the Sixers end up losing. And now you're down 0-2 versus the series being tied 1-1. And for a lot of playoff teams, Gary, it's a different momentum shift. When you're going back home, either you're down 0-2 or the series is tied 1-1. There's a little bit different type of pressure. So, again, another 2-0 lead in these playoffs. The 76ers are going back home down 0-2, and now they're starting to all right, every game's starting to matter now. And they had that series, or they had that game kind of in the bag. And so what do you think the Sixers have to do to come out on top in game 3? And how did they blow a 5-point lead with 27 seconds left?
To be honest with you, this series right here, it's tough, Vaughn. Like literally with Embiid basically not being nowhere near 100%, and you could just tell, he just not being the defensive presence or, the offensive firepower where he usually is, because really no one can really guard him, obviously, on the Knicks. And, he should be easily getting probably a 40 ball in this series with Maxey showing up the way he is. But like I just talked about, it happens with the others again, Vaughn. Like you have guys like DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Hartenstein getting a big rebound, really all stepping up. And you really can't name anyone from the Sixers really doing the same thing and matching that same energy at the moment. We obviously haven't seen Tobias Harris really show up the way he needs to for this team to be great. And so he's a third option, and they're lacking in that. And our guy Buddy Hield, he's one of the best 3-point shooters in Kings history, I guess. Is, and hasn't really shown up too in the playoffs. I know this is probably his first time in a while ever, maybe even ever being in the playoffs. So maybe that just learning that new thing and getting different shots and getting pressured in every which way. I think I like how Von's switching it up for the y'all keep the host. I like a little purple messing around on today. We get to mess around on today's show. And so I think that's tough, man. They needed to split. If they wanted to get a chance to win the series, I'm not gonna lie, I did pick the 76ers to win the series. I thought it may be 6. And so it doesn't look like that's going to happen at all. That's just me thinking that Joel Embiid's the best player in this series and can be able to win this series himself. And maybe he could have done that 100%, Vaughn. MVP Embiid, maybe could have done that. But the Embiid we're seeing right now, it's sad to say, it's just like you're very scared for him, man. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, if he's going to be out for the game or anything like that, because he's just so fragile. And, he's thinking in the back of his head, he's one who's put his knee out there. The opponents are playing physical even more on him, just, knowing that he's a little bit injured, not saying they want to hurt him, but it's playoff basketball, man. Like, it's going to be physical out there. So the Knicks just, doing what they've done all year, out hustling, just outsmarting everyone else and just really being in every game has really kept them alive in this series and kept them with the gas pedal on, with Jalen Brunson not even being MVP Jalen Brunson that we've seen all year. Literally haven't even seen the Brunson we've seen all year. And so kudos to his team basically having his back, saying, hey, you have us all year. Julius Randle goes out. OG Anunoby goes out. Players, on this team have gotten injured and they've, righted the ship, ended up getting second seed, I think they ended up being. So them just, keeping the train going no matter what is just a hats off to this, this team and the culture they've built, because you can just see it that, man, they be rocking the house. So I think that the Knicks just have a little bit too much firepower for Philadelphia at the moment due to the fact that Joel Embiid's just not healthy enough. And so if they want any chance to win back and tie this, go back to, after 4, be tied up 2-2, because I'm going to say it again, you don't want to come back to New York down 3-1. It's going to be really tough if you split at home. So, Vaughn, I think they're going to have to pull one out, and Paul, obviously, they'll pull 2 out. And if that's going to happen, they're going to need to be big contributions from – I said that word probably horrible. Some help. Contributions. There you go. My bad. I appreciate you, Vaughn. Contributions for this team to really win off the bench. They're going to have to get some guys off the bench to really help them out. So that's where I see this series heading towards. The Knicks are in full control, obviously, with a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, you kind of broke everything down there. The Sixers have this game 2 in the bag, and kind of just let it slip through their fingers. I mean, this was the game that they had to win. Joel Embiid had a 30-point, 10 rebound game. You had Maxey had another 30-point game, and they still somehow find their way to lose. And another thing that you said, Jalen Brunson hasn't been playing his best in these playoff series, and the Knicks are up 2-0. We've seen him throughout the regular season kind of put on his Superman cape, and kind of just will his team to the number 2 seed. And for them to kind of be up 2-0 and he's playing, I wouldn't necessarily say he's playing bad. He's just not playing to the standards that we've kind of seen him drop these 40-point games against Sacramento Kings. Know about that. These 35-point games in the playoffs. We've seen him have these insane games, and for him to not really, we haven't really seen that Jalen Brunson game in the playoffs, and they're up 2-0. It's kind of breathtaking, and it's scary to say how good this New York Knicks team can really be. And you can only imagine what they would be when they're fully healthy, because yes, they are missing an all-star caliber player in Julius Randle, and they've been playing tremendously well. Now, a lot of people are going to jump to, is Joel Embiid ultimately 100% healthy? I would have to say no. I was an advocate for him probably sitting out the rest of the season and kind of just, getting him 100% and getting ready for next season. But the Sixers obviously had other plans. They felt like they were in a position to where they feel as if they're the second best team in the East, because when Joel Embiid went down, I think they were second or third in the East. Yeah. And for them to get a Joel Embiid back, they still feel like they're that same team, man. There's a lot kind of going on in the series. You're seeing some antics. I even saw something about Ben Stiller, who was talking about Kelly Oubre. He called him Kelly Oubre. I thought that was really cool, and I think Oubre was saying something about
the fans,
a bunch of celebrities getting paid to come and sit front row, and Ben Stiller kind of clapped back.
These guys really care about basketball.
Yeah, there's some of the guys that really come, like Spike Lee goes to all the New York games.
They care about. He's
been going for however long that is. Ben Stiller, I believe, is one of those guys. Tracy Morgan. those guys have been going to Knicks games since before we were born. So they obviously give a fuck about the game. So the Knicks up 2-0. Do they win game 3? I'm not sure because, the Sixers are going to feel some type of way going into game 3, as most of these teams who are down 0-2 are going to feel some type of way.
Do or die on game 3.
And one of those teams, Gary, is your LA Lakers. Going down 0-2.
My LeBron.
One of 2 LeBronologists are on the show still. Lakers lose a heartbreaker in game 2 last night. Jamal Murray comes down, hits the game-winning step back over Anthony Davis, I might add, who was an all-defensive caliber player. Did not play well. I'd say pretty much up until the fourth quarter, he really didn't play as well. And then kind of just, had that Jamal Murray 14, game that we all kind of know. Exactly. So, Gary, want to get your thoughts on the Nuggets going up 2-0, and are the Nuggets going to sweep the Lakers again?
Nah, Vaughn, I don't think they're going to sweep the Nuggets again. Man, it's tough. I put man, oh, man right on my nose because that's how I'm feeling. Man, oh, man. As we know, I'm a Kings fan, it's my team, but I've been a LeBron fan since a kid because, like I always say, it's giving me more happiness than the Kings ever did. Sorry to say that, but it's the truth. And so, man, I wish we did our picks before because I'm telling you, Vaughn, I picked the Lakers in 7. I'm not gonna lie. I picked a lot in 7. I ain't gonna lie. I picked a lot in 7, and I thought LeBron, if you get him down to one game, he could maybe pull it out versus this team. And both games they have had chances, man. It's just a deja vu of last year. Like every game was close last year, just like this. The Lakers felt like they gotta play perfect because when you're playing this team, especially in the playoffs, they make it so. Every Jokic makes it and Jamal Murray makes it so every possession is a high-quality possession.
Yep.
Exactly. Like they're getting a good shot, and KCP and Aaron
had a crazy dunk last night.
And Michael Porter all know where their shots are going to come from, Braun included. They all know where their shots are going to come from. They all know what shots they should be taking. They know what options they're going to get out of it. They're just running this system. I don't know how many minutes they said on the broadcast, but I know they got the most minutes played as a unit by far, by like 100+ together, like over the next team that has like a 5-man unit like that. And so it shows, man. You can just see it shows. And even when they had a 20-point lead, the Lakers, had 2 leads in both of these games that were, pretty major. And then my dad always goes crazy when he sees 20-point leads getting lost. I always try to remind him. It ain't 2012, Dad, no more where, threes, we used to feel like it's over. It's pretty much you can pack your bags at 20, Vaughn. You can say you can walk out the game. It'll still be good. Like 20 points aren't nothing. No 20-point leads aren't nothing no more in this league. As we know, as soon as that man Steph Curry and Klay Thompson splash first walked into this league with Draymond, they've changed that outlook because you can go on a 9-0 run with 3 threes and boom, take a timeout, hit 2 more, and boom, you're under single digits again. It's a game again. So that's what this causes. And so them not paying, they play perfect. Oh, it's a 1 minute. LeBron literally hits back-to-back threes, gets it in 1-3. And, I know everyone wants to kill LeBrick James. I saw all haters saying, on LeBron for bricking that in and out. But it's wide open. I know I'm pretty 99% sure, Vaughn. I'm pretty sure he was, even though, LeBron does do heat checks, especially when he's hot like that. I'm not going to lie. But the way he kind of set and hold it for that one didn't really look like he really wanted to take it in terms of like, the goal was probably getting to the rim and letting the clock dwindle a little lower, but just, KCP flying and them not calling a foul. That's like wide open 3 and LeBron just hit 2. So, it's rim in and out, wasn't a big old brick like people try to make it seem. You make some, you lose some. And so Jamal Murray comes down and makes a great shot. Yeah, what can you do? Like you said, over AD, defensive player. He doesn't even see the shot go in. He falls down. That's how he elevated so high. And, people were saying, oh, AD should have pressed up more. He wasn't going to go to the rim. It's always he say, she say of what you think could have, should have been happened after the fact. The point is the Lakers had the perfect recipe to win this game, man. That's what's so sad about it. Literally, D'Lo shows up. I knew that he had a feeling he was going to show up because I just didn't feel like he would do a whole series like last year, especially the moments he've had this year of showing that, when the time comes, he does show up in many instances this year. Obviously helped them to even get a playoff spot, them being a 10 seed and climbing all the way up to 7. And so it's the pressure's on AR. AR hasn't showed up just yet, and him being on the USA team, I'm kind of like, all right, brother, come on now. You get a lot of respect. You run the league, and so you got to show up when show up time comes. And he usually does show up, so it's kind of mind-boggling he hasn't showed up, Vaughn. So him, Rui, there's guys that if AD's being aggressive, especially Devon, that was a key. Like he was being so aggressive in the beginning. He was turn away, left hook, right hook, just one dribble pull-ups, like easy butter shots that you've seen really bubble AD was doing, where it was like so efficient and so easy. It wasn't forced. It was in the flow of the offense. We've seen that in the first 3 quarters. Not sure if he got gassed or what, or if maybe it was LeBron time that switched gears. I feel he didn't obviously get a shot up in the fourth, I believe. So that was not a good, pretty sight to see, especially when you're up 20 and him doing what he was doing. So I just feel like they fumbled this one away. You could tell with the frustrations after the game from the Lakers. And so what can you do, man? They got to go home, protect home court, try to get one more. This is 10 straight now. They lost to this team, and it's like one of those things kind of like as a Kings fan versus the Pelicans, I guess, where you lose 6. It's like this team got us number. Like no matter how hard we try, no matter what we throw at them, which way we go about it, they always finish. They always end up on top. And so it's tough. And it's the first time you've really seen where, like, in my eyes, really, like, it's not LeBron to be able to control the whole game because he's just a greater player at the moment on the other side. It's obviously tough to say with me being LeBron, but it's just what it is. The year 21, he's still great. He can do a lot, but Jokic is controlling this game. He's controlling the tempo. He's controlling the game, controlling every possession for them. And so they're going to have to, run the back same game plan and be 1 minute better, Vaughn. Literally just be 1 to 2, 3 minutes better. That's all they can do, literally. They got to, hope D-Lo and everyone steps up, home court always helps, as we know, the role players. I think the role players will play better at home. So they gotta split these two. Because again, I'm gonna say it again. You don't want to go back game 5 down 3-1. It's a wrap. It's a wrap, folks. It's a wrap. So if they want any chance to win a finals, because I believe if they can get past their bugaboo in the Nuggets, Bon, I'm pretty sure you would agree too. There's nothing the team that you don't want to see the Lakers either if they get past the big dogs here. So it's all in their hand, man. The championship could be on a rise for LeBron again if they can take care of the Nuggets in some way, form, or fashion. But these guys are in their prime. And again, Jamal hasn't even got cooking yet, and he was the one that kicked them last year. So again, it's just a recipe's not looking good, but hey, they got to try to cook up the same meal this time, but finish it to perfection.
Yeah, I mean, Lakers have had several chances. I mean, even in game 1, they came out swinging. First half, I'd say they were winning the majority of the game. And then kind of in the second half, Nuggets pretty much took control. Same thing in game 2. The Lakers got up to a 20, I think it was a 22-point lead at some time. And they were up by 20-ish in like the third quarter. And then you just start to see that lead start to dwindle a little bit. Jokic is making plays, getting every rebound, fighting for possessions. You got Christian Brown off the bench making plays. Jamal Murray didn't really come alive until the third. KCP is dunking on dudes. People forget that this is his old team. And, every time a KCP plays the Lakers, it's personal for him. I do think these games when AD has like 30 and 10, like these double-digit 30-ball games, it kind of just, it's very deflating. So it's like, what else can I do? Like I had 30, I had 10, and we still lost. They only lost by 2, but when the game started to get close, 2 minutes left, you're up 6. It feels like those possessions just get tighter and tighter, especially when you're going against the defending champs. They have no quit in them. And I just feel like when you have Nikola Jokic and you're down, you're down 6 in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left, game's not over. So, and that's with most of these teams in the playoffs, where when you're up, when you have some sort of lead within like 6 points, and there's like 2 minutes left, that's a lot of possessions, and a lot can change. That's 2 buckets. You get 2 threes, and the game's tied all of a sudden. So I think with Jamal Murray getting hot, and Jokic had a 20-20 game, he had a 20-20 triple-double, like 27 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists. Like that is mind-boggling on how crazy they're able to kind of go and just make things happen. So I think it was a coaching masterclass from Mike Malone, and it was just a masterful game to watch. And the Nuggets are up 2-0. Laker fans, you guys don't win game 3, it's over. I'll say that now. Like Gary was saying, you don't want to go back to Denver down 3-1, it's over with. So that was an incredible game too. But we're going to get to the games tonight. Tonight's games, we'll start with the game that we just saw, which is the Mavericks and Clippers game. And tale of two games. Game 1, we saw the Clippers with no Kawhi Leonard. James Harden he turned back the clock, and it looked like he was back in Houston, and he was mixing up everybody. MVP Harden, he was hitting step back threes, and oh my God. And then in the second game, you kind of saw a little bit of everything. Kawhi Leonard returns, but the Mavericks are able to get the win. I did pick the Mavs to win this series. I believe in 6 games it was. But Kyrie and Luka, those guys are going to make plays happen no matter what down the stretch. But I do think what was different in this game was we saw guys like PJ Walker and Maxi Kleba hitting clutch threes down the stretch. So, Gary, I want to swing it to you. What do you think about the series, and who do you got winning the series? And yeah, a little bit more of your thoughts from game 2 tonight. That mute button's got you, Gary.
The button got me. My bad. I said so in these series. I've been trying to write down. I'll just remember what I had this in. I had this one in Mavs in 6-2. Von, I would agree with you in this one. I thought they were gonna. They still have a chance, obviously, win in 6. And so, like you said, it was a tale of two games. Obviously, the Dallas Mavericks weren't ready in game 1. Simple, weren't ready in game 1. Got punched in the mouth early with the James Harden barrage. You've seen him do this in the. I know everyone talks about the low points in James Harden's career in the playoffs, but he's had many very highs as well. You know what I'm saying? And this is obviously one of them. Last year, I think he had game 1 too with 50 ball with the 76ers last year. I'm pretty sure too. So. Yeah. James Harden, as he said, he can still boogie. He can still get buckets. You know, he might not be prime time James Harden, but, you know, the way the guys in the league are now, as we can see with Westbrook and things of that nature, guys still got – if their bodies are still right, they still got the skill sets and, you know, years of experience to get what they want. It might not be as easy. It might not be as perfect and not be able to carry the same weight as it was before. They might need a little more help, but it could still get done. And so, obviously, like you said, they wrapped up game 1. I picked what you do today, that the Mavericks would come out and Luka and Kyrie would have a show, and literally that's what they had, man. They literally had 23 points from Kyrie and 32 from Luka. Every time the Clippers would try to make a run in this game, they would make key buckets. Guys like PJ Washington stepping up from 3, from 4, from 3-point line, 18 points. Guys like this in the previous series weren't here for the Mavericks, where Luka had to do every which thing. And so, you know, those big explosion games he had versus same Clippers with 40 balls and 50 balls, and, you know, like – they weren't able to close those deals because, you know, at the end of the day in playoffs, you need some help, man. Like, you need that. Yeah, superstars are going to show up. When he gets to the top of the top and the end of the game, it's going to be that double team in the top, you know, unless a superstar can get wide open in the East, it's going to be double team and boom, boom, kicking. What corner 3, Von? Who's going to make that corner 3 for you? It's going to be wide open after the double team. And so their guys hit those key points. They won. You know, it was a tough thing. They lost the turnover battle today too, and, you know, you can see and it was this is an old school game, man. 96-93, didn't even hit 100. They were D'ing up in the third big time, and so only 20, 25 points scored for each team in the third quarter. So these teams have played each other many times. They know each other. That's why it's physical. They know, you know, everything that's coming at them, and so it's going to be the fact that who's going to get stops. And shout out to Luka today, man. He was in a lot of these things, and today was the first time, I don't know if you've seen him, I seen him today playing real physical and like, he even said post game, I don't want no double team help. I'm trying to take, you know, like, and you can see he lost a little weight. He's being more physical. He's, you know, I think he's learning the league and how to defend guys more. You know, he's a smart player, so he don't have to be like a lock-on defender. But if he can be smart and not be a liability, maybe as much as before, which he seems like he's getting towards better at. Even James Harden today, man, even they kept putting him in pick and roll, and he was really trying to really, not like all this, no one in the playoffs wants to be that liability. No one wants to be, sorry to say, like I love Trae Young, but no one wants to be the liability, right, Vaughn? You want to get put in pick and rolls, they're going to put in pick and roll. They don't want to be the ones letting people have freeway lanes to the rim to kick out the threes, and we all know where it started from, you know what I'm saying, from you being you off the dribble. So they're all taking pride in it. Even, Kyrie, who gets knocked for his defenses, they're all playing physical. And so today was just the day for Mavericks. Made a couple more shots than these guys. Just were a little bit more free-flowing and more flawless in terms of making key shots. And, Kawhi was 0 for 5 from 3, wasn't really feeling it. James Harden 2 for 10. So a lot of empty possessions going that way. And, him not playing in a while, playing 35 minutes, you can kind of see it from Kawhi, So hopefully I still got the Mavericks in this series because I feel like I just like the pieces around them. And it's bad to see Tim Hardaway go out and after 6 minutes play because they're going to need that scoring because, like I mentioned, they have a lot of guys who have experience. And, Westbrook played a solid game today. They're going to have a lot of guys. Norman Powell had a solid game today. So there's guys on this Clipper team that are going to come out. Their bench is going to be deeper. So they're going to have to really try to control how many possessions are in this game. Like, it's kind of weird. It probably will be better if the Clippers probably want to push pace because they have more offense in this team and probably get more easier shots and things of that nature. But they're old. They're literally old. They're literally old. They got a lot of old guys who don't want to play that fast, which makes sense because they don't want to get gassed.
All their guys are 30 plus, yeah.
Exactly. So it makes sense why they would want to slow it down, but I really feel like that kind of plays in favor in the Luka and Kyrie range where they get to kind of dictate every possession. It's this last game. I know we just turned it off. Every possession is going down to 5 second mark with Luka and Kyrie with the ball making big time shots. So that plays in their hands, and so the Clippers are going to have to find out a way, to I feel like speed the tempo up a little more to being more because they have more athletic guys, and I feel like than their team. So that's, in my opinion, what so far seeing this series. I got the Mavs still winning, and so it's going to be a good one though, man. It's going to be a really good one because superstars in both sides, so it's going to be really close every game. I feel like going forward.
Absolutely. So moving on. Another game that we saw tonight was the Pacers and Bucks are now tied at 1-1. Didn't really get to watch this game as much. Saw a couple of the highlights, but for the most part, this game just looked like it was the Pascal Siakam show, and he did pretty much whatever he wanted. Almost had a 40 ball. Ended with 37 tonight. Damian Lillard did pretty much what he could, but obviously wasn't enough. And don't know the extent of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, he's missing his second game in a row. If they are going back to Indiana with all the momentum and Giannis is not able to play, it's going to start to, I feel like, open the floodgates for the Indiana Pacers. Gary would like to know what you think about this series. This might be a series a lot of people aren't really watching because they're putting it on NBA TV. It's kind of a secondary series. They're starting to try and squeeze in all the games on 3 games in one day on a weekday. It's kind of hard to catch. So
especially NBA TV game.
Yeah. So do you think the Pacers are going to be able to pull the series out with or without Giannis? And are the Bucks in trouble?
I was locked in today, Vaughn. I had the double screen going like you do in football season. I had the double screen going. The iPad with the Bucks game on. I had the big screen on with the TNT. So we was locked in today. We was ready for the show to really prime time today to be good to go. And I think this Bucks, they kind of melted it in a way because he got one without Giannis. I feel like even though they're at home, they know they're gonna have to
extended the series already.
Indiana. Exactly. So I feel like I wrote here I still have Bucks in 6. And so it was good to see the Pacers play a little bit more of their style of play in terms of putting a lot of points up. And so, like I mentioned earlier, man, it's all about who's going to control the tempo in these series, in these games, to force the other team to play their type of way. And so tonight the Pacers were playing their type of ball. Tyrese was getting in a transition, finding Pascal. I think Tyrese had 12 assists, and he was really orchestrating his way through, and finding his guys everywhere. Literally every guy has double digits in the starting lineup for the Pacers, with obviously 2 guys scoring over 22 with Miles Turner and Nembhard chipping in. So that's just the stats for tonight, and them just shooting 44% from three. And man, oh man, Dame can just do so much. 8 for 9 from the 8 for 9 from free throw.
Dame played really good.
6 for 13, like trying to be efficient. Middleton just wasn't really there, like not aggressive enough for them to win this game. 14 shots. My brother, you is second option, so you're gonna have to put up more. You're gonna have to put up more. And so, obviously Portis not playing 30 minutes, 0 for 2 from 3, 14 points, obviously getting some defensive rebounds. He did his thing, but when Giannis is not there, they're gonna need a little bit more scoring. Literally, I'm looking at the bench. I don't think they had. I think, shit, man. 9-10 points off the bench, barely. Yeah. Maybe a couple guys score at the end with Beasley and Green scoring. And Jackson. Yeah, that was just off the bench in terms of, when they let the starters got benched at the end of the game. So the bench scoring really, really hurt this team today, big time. So you can tell, Von, that Giannis is going to have to come back quick, man, or this season is going to be over. And, literally. And so they've had a rocky season, as we know, and it's funny to say because Dame probably had a solid year if you look at his numbers now, going back at it. Giannis had, quote-unquote, one of his best. I say quote-unquote because maybe I feel like just the narrative around the team isn't that he hasn't played this great this year, but if you look at his numbers, probably one of his most efficient years ever, and he wasn't even considered an MVP, and somehow, some way, people might cut him from All-NBA as well. So, literally, it's really tough for them because they made this big trade and they haven't figured out, which is so weird. They haven't figured out like certain aspects of this team yet in terms of like the Dame, Giannis pick and roll. We haven't seen that really like lighten the league up. I think you would agree, Vaughn, that was going to be kind of a little bit of a Jamal Murray, Jokic. I know Jokic is not Giannis in a totally different way, but in terms of just being that pick and roll partner with a guard that's really hard to stop and to be dynamic. And so he's actually had more success, obviously, with Lopez. He's just been a better screener and it's just been a better pick and roll partner with him. And obviously, he had 22 points today, and that obviously was helping from kick out threes and things of that nature, and him being 6 for 7 tonight and Lopez. So they're going to have to control this game better, and they're going to need Giannis to come back because Dame pulled one out for you being a superstar. He maybe could pull one more out of you, but Indiana Pacers have confidence. Rick Carlisle has infused confidence in this team. They've had confidence. They've been up and down this year. They're in-season tournament champions. They have had gained the confidence versus Milwaukee, as we know. They've been chippy many times already in this little quote-unquote mini-series. It's kind of becoming a rivalry between each other in a way. And so if Milwaukee wants to win this series, they're going to have to be the aggressors. And tonight they just weren't aggressors. And when you're missing your most aggressive person, it's tough. So they're going to have to really beat this team up physical, or this team's going to be young bucks outgunning you. Simple, outgunning you. And they're matching the physicality too tonight. They matched the physicality tonight. So I think, they're going to have to throw back a haymaker in Indiana if they want to win. I think the best case scenario for the Bucks is going to be 2-2 tied after 4, coming back home, and hopefully Giannis gets to come back, So I don't know, Von. Do you think he's going to play next game? I don't know. It's the status of what he was, but man, dude, that's back-to-back years and bad timing. I feel bad for him, man. Just when you don't want to be here, this is the spot you want Giannis in, and he's not here again, man. It's tough.
Yeah, the fucked up part about it is I don't think Giannis is going to play in this series. The Bucks are going to try and extend this series as much as they can. Probably still a game in Indiana I probably see happening, but I don't think we'll see Giannis in this series. Haven't really gotten an update on Giannis's injury update and his calf injury, but the Pacers have all the momentum now, and they're going back home to Indiana, tied up 1-1. Moving on to our second to last series. My Celtics, we took a 1-0 series lead over I believe it was the Miami Heat, obviously without Jimmy Butler. Bam Adebayo is still in there in company. Jaime Jaquez, I thought, played pretty well, but for the most part, Miami was very non-existent on offense, really wasn't able to generate any type of offense. The Celtics proved why they have one of the top the top point differential in the NBA, and has a historic one of the top point point differentials in like NBA history we've ever had. So the Celtics, who were favored by 14.5 points, came out and pretty much dominated the entire game. I think that's what we're going to see the majority of the series. Without Jimmy Butler, I think the Miami Heat are a vegetable on offense, really don't have a pulse at all. They're kind of just floating around. They're a filler team in the playoffs, if you might add.
Boston in 5 are sweet, Von. Come on.
Yeah, 4-0. I think it's going to be
especially with no Butler.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, and the Celtics are going to be favored by double digits in every game, and I think that they cover the spread in every single one of those.
14.5 tomorrow. Sheesh.
Yeah, I think we'll cover the spread in that game easily as well. So, good luck, Miami. I think the Celtics go up 2-0 after tomorrow night.
Just piggybacking real quick. We'll make this one quick. Yeah, you mentioned Butler not there, big factor, engine not there, so good luck. But they can still win, Von. I got them in 5. They can still win just because, they play you guys tough. Eric Spoelstra's a great coach. The guy got guys who try hard. They got guys who are going to put it all on the line for him. So they're going to maybe scrap one out if y'all don't shoot the lights out the building like y'all did last game. And so, again, no test for these Celtics just yet. And, and we're going to have to see, man. Y'all still got one bugaboo. It looks like a clear landing to the finals right now, Vaughn. Clear landing. Nothing in clear skies, as they say. I think clear skies, Vaughn, as they say. But, again, closing, man. I just don't know why they have not learned how to close. It's just like they just turn to – let's go, Vonny. Come on, from a Celtics fan, what do you see when the closing time? What do you think the problem is? Because from me,
I think we just get in these.
Go one-on-one. So much. We
get into these big leads, and we're just like, oh, we're up 20. Like, what's the worst that could happen? And then all of a sudden, the team comes. We've blown so many 20-point leads in the regular season. It's because we get up by 25, 27 points in the game. We kind of just coast, and I feel like
you can't
when we let them coast, guys start to chip the lead. Next thing you know, it's 15. Next thing you know, it's 8. And oh my God, it's 3 points. And then, guys are trying to
gone.
Yeah. So I feel like we get up these big leads really early in games, and then we kind of just coast throughout the game. And some of those teams will just knock down threes. With that being said, I do not think the Miami Heat have the offensive firepower to compete with the Boston Celtics. That's the reason why we're favored by double digits, 14.5 points to be exact, in tomorrow's game. So I think the Celtics sweep and win and cover the spread in each and every one of these games. I won't want to start looking ahead, but I think the Celtics will handle their own in this series. But we're going to be moving on to our final series of the night, and that is the Thunder against the Oklahoma City Thunder against the New Orleans Pelicans without Zion Williamson. And Gary, I'll kind of lead it off here. I think this was the best game of the weekend.
For sure.
Oklahoma City has been known to be been able to put up points throughout the regular season, and they weren't really able to score. I thought what me and Kev kind of talked about, I think it was Friday's podcast. The New Orleans Pelicans have a really good matchup with this young Oklahoma City Thunder team.
Young versus young.
There's a lot of youth in both of these teams, and I feel like that's why I didn't really understand why the Thunder were like minus 400 favorites to win the series, because Oklahoma City is fairly young. The Pelicans have a lot of size and wing defenders that are able to counteract the Jalen Williams, the SGAs, and we saw Trey Murphy was out there getting buckets. Herb Jones was out there defending like crazy. CJ McCollum kind of came out of his shell. Brandon Ingram didn't really play too well from a shooting standpoint, but he was able to get his teammates involved and affect the game in other ways. And that might be the reason why they only lost by 2 points. Jose Alvarado didn't really have the Alvarado 15 points off the bench type of game. But kind of just came down to the two young stars. I say two young stars in SGA and Jalen Williams. They were able to close out the game. SGA had a a clutch and one, I think, with a couple of seconds left. We saw Jalen Williams, who a lot of people I don't think are talking about as one of the top young rising stars that he really emerged in the playoffs. I think a lot of people are kind of looking towards Paolo. I was. Paolo, Anthony Edwards, guys like that kind of pop, that we're looking to pop in the playoffs. And I think Jalen Williams is going to be one of those kind of guys that we'll see in this playoffs because, you see teams like Oklahoma City Thunder, the Mavericks, the Magic, the teams that really aren't on, national TV as much because, they're one of those small market teams that didn't really get that much airtime in the beginning of the season, but as the season got on, they started to put them on TV a little bit more. But I think we'll see more of him. Chet Holmgren made his playoff debut as well. Didn't play as particularly well, but made some key defensive stops. But I do like Oklahoma. I did pick OKC to win in 6 games. Kevin, I believe he picked them to win in 5. I said 6 because OKC is young. They're trying to adjust to the playoffs. They're going to be heavy favorites in games, but I feel like it's a lot more even than a lot of people think. And I did see a report today that a Zion Williamson return is fairly likely. Now, I believe this game will have to be – he wouldn't come back to like a game 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. So if Pels are down 3-2 in an elimination game, and I believe that game would be in New Orleans, game 6.
Game 6 in New Orleans, yes.
Yeah, game 6 would be in New Orleans. And if Zion Williamson comes back and helps them, leads them to a victory, and they force a game 7, anything goes in game 7. So that would, if the Pels are able to force a game 7 and Zion Williamson is healthy, I would lean towards the Pelicans in winning the series. That's just me. But Garry, want to get your thoughts before we get out of here on episode 92 of Stats Over Politics. Give us your thoughts.
Yes, sir. Just real quick on this game. Like you mentioned, this was one of the best games of this weekend. Got to catch the very end. Couldn't catch the whole game because I was at work. But from watching the highlights and what you've told me and what I've heard around everyone saying, I feel like I mentioned, I got OKC in 7. Again, I got a team in 7. I was leaning maybe towards 6, but I think New Orleans at home, game 6, probably would be able to pull it out. And you 2 young teams going at it, so playoff experience isn't really that factor. Only probably the major playoff experience a team has. I know Brandon Ingram made it like 2 years ago, and CJ McCollum obviously made it many times with the Blazers, so they are obviously more leaning in that aspect. But this OKC team has been proven to, be able to close out game with SGA. They're a little bit more deep because Zion's out. And so Zion not being out really kind of makes me lean towards OKC because I'm not going to lie. If Zion was in this series from the start to finish, I feel like him just wear and tear on Chet Holmgren and really them having no big body to really guard him. And so like you mentioned earlier, the problem with the Kings had with this Pelicans team was just the length of this team, especially in the wing position, like you mentioned, Vaughn. And that gives them the ability to guard multiple positions and be able to guard very well. So I feel like it would be 92-94, under the 100-point game. I wouldn't be surprised if this happens again. Like I mentioned earlier, high-intensity playoffs. It becomes nip and tuck, and possessions are going to be really highly valued. And so OKC, I feel like, is going to be a little bit leaning towards – I'm going to be leaning a little bit towards OKC just because I feel like they have 1 or 2 better guys in this team. And so they've just been a better team overall in the year. And just really, I think, like I mentioned, just really the overall factor why I chose who I chose in terms of Thunder and 7 is Zion not playing, and it might be a little bit too late when Zion comes, and who knows how healthy he is and things of that nature. So it's going to be nip and tuck. I can't wait to watch game 2. And, you already went over game 1, so let's see what happens in game 2. And I hope it is a good one because we got a lot of young guys, like you mentioned, and Williams, who should be on the national stage here very soon because he's been playing great all season long. And, a lot of these guys, and I obviously, if we're going to pick another guy who's kind of been underground killer, I guess, quote unquote, from guys who are like people who are casuals who don't really watch the NBA that much. Who me and Vaughn, locked into the NBA, would say, Mr. Trey Murphy, bruh, that boy is a strapper. That boy got strapped. He got 5 for 12 from 3. He is not hesitant at all to shoot. It kind of reminds me of Michael Porter Jr. in terms of he gonna shoot it every time he got it because he got that type of confidence of pulling it and he could put it on the floor. Kind of got a little bit of a similar game than kind of J. Will got in terms of can shoot a 3, put the ball on the floor, kind of create for others if he wants to, but just being an aggressive scorer. So those two guys right there are going to be big factors for a team, especially Murphy was on not playing. He's going to have a couple big games here. So they're going to need more off the bench, I feel like, last game. They shot 28% from 3, so that's going to have to be a big change, big impact on this game. So, again, to end off this episode 92, 93, 92, I'm assuming 92 episode, that playoffs details matter. Guys off the bench who are going to show up matter, making big-time shots. And so, as we've seen so far, playing at home, making role players feel real good. I think, 12-1, 12-2 now. Could see guys at home this so far in the round 1. We're going to see what happens in games 3s and 4s for this upcoming weekend. And, yeah, can't wait to see it. Round 1's been cooking, man, Ron. It's been good. At least, thank God we got a good game last night. We got a pretty good game today and the games today. So, yeah, let's get some more good games around the corner now. Good content.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that about wraps it up for us today. First time hosting. Hope I didn't bore you guys too much. So expect a bonus podcast sometime in the week. The NFL draft's going to be coming up. Gary, are you excited about the draft? Is there anybody?
I'm excited if we take your guy to my Steelers. I'll be excited.
Is there a guy you're looking at in particular, or you're kind of just like
now you know me, man, with the college things, man. I'm just ready for them to get to the pros and see what they got for us when they head to us. Trust my guy Amir Khan to pick the right guys and get us bolsters. Because as we know, my Steelers is we got some things, Vonny. We got some things this year. We got some things.
In Khan we trust, as Steelers Twitter likes to say. But yeah, that about wraps it up from us over here at Stats Over Politics. I am your host, Jaevon Totty, alongside my guy, Gary Singh. We had Shaun, Holko, and Kevin Dent, a part of the podcast as well. And yeah, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video to your friends or
your mama, your granny,
your mom, everybody pretty much. Anybody that you can or cannot share this video with. We appreciate you guys joining us. And that'll do it for episode 92 of Stats Over Politics.
Peace.
Peace.